Welcome to the paper for October-November 2024. In this video, we're gonna do the first task. You have been supplied with the following sources. So I've downloaded the files and created a folder called examination. In this folder, we have the axis up until the moonlight. First thing that you want to do is to make sure that you have all the files available. And do not delete this file when submitting. And do not tidy the folder by deleting files created at any stage of attempting the task. It's best for you to keep safe everything that you ever done, but make sure that you name it properly by the end of every task as requested. So the first task is to open the marketing plans. Here's what it looks like. The model contains a hidden formula, so we cannot see that formula because it's hidden. Usually they hide it and then they locked it, yeah. The project administration development is expected to cost £150. Enter this value into the appropriate cell. Okay, so I'm gonna enter 150,000, but there's a £1 to it. So I expect for every cells that related to the money would be in £. So I'm gonna select all of this and then change the format cells into currency with £, or GBP. Okay. For the advertising, it costs 15,000. So I'm gonna put 15,000 here. Manufacturing cost per monitor would be £13, and then for monitoring selling price would be £14. So I'm gonna put 13 and 14 here. As you can see, there's an automatic calculation already on the number of projected sales. So we do not need to do anything on it. On the income, here's a display all cost monitor selling price. We did this already, so we can skip this. Then enter a formula in the appropriate cells to calculate the income by multiplying the number of projected sales by the monitoring selling price. So in the income, we need to multiply number of projected sales with the monitoring selling price, equals number projected sales times monitoring selling price. So that's our income. In the profit, we need to subtract the project cost and the total manufacturing cost, and they gave us the formula already. So profit equals to income minus total project cost plus the manufacturing cost per monitor times number of projected sales. So here equals income minus the total project cost. Okay, so D6 plus D7 plus the number projected sales times the cost per monitor. You need to make sure that every bracket has a pair, yeah? But usually if you miss one pair, they will fix it for you. So we have the profit result already. So again, it's manufacturing cost per monitor times the number projected sales plus the total project cost minus the income. Enter a formula in the appropriate cell to calculate the profit and set the currency format to match the cost. We did that already, so the format is already in £, with 2 decimal points at the end. Use the model to determine the minimum monitor selling price so that the project breaks even. This is when the profit is 0. Do not use trial and error methods, meaning we cannot keep changing this one until we reach certain points, yeah? So what we want is to use what we call a what-if analysis, that is goal seek. So we want to set the profit here to be 0 by changing how we sell the monitor. Okay, so by changing this cell to reach 0, then it will automatically give you the answer. So goal seek status found a solution. Target value is 0 and the current value now is already 0. by changing it to 13.45. So it's not using trial and error method. Yeah. Now we're gonna continue. Oh, we need to save first. Yeah. Save your spreadsheet with the name break even, followed by your center number, candidate, etc. So I'm gonna save this as break even. To examination, break even. That's for 5 points. We continue to task 1. The model needs to explore the sales income and profit for different values. Unprotect the model. The password is CIE. Oh, they gave us the password. So right click on this, unprotect sheet, CIE. Oh, I didn't put caps lock. It's supposed to be caps lock. Now it's already unprotected. We can see the formula here, but not yet. We don't need to change anything before they said we need to change. Yeah. Limit the advertising cost between 15,000 and 25,000. Insert suitable input and error alert message. There's 2 of them. Suitable input and error alert messages. So we know this is probably going to be the data validation method. Yeah. So this is for the advertising cost. The advertising cost, so you go to data validation. You need to set the value, whole number, between the minimum is 15,000 to 25,000. And click OK. Now if I change it into 14,000, it shouldn't accept it. We need to change it to 15,000 minimum. Remember, there should be a appropriate error message. So in this case, the input message should be have to be please insert the correct amount. Input message could be between 15 to 25. And then the error message should be please enter within range. Your input is outside the accepted range. And click OK. Message could be anything, but you need to remember that it needs to relate to the question or the requested requirements. Yeah. Enter $16 pound sterling as the monitor selling price. So we're gonna enter 16. The projection table needs to be extended. Amend the formulas in D14 to F14 to extend the projection table as shown below. So you know that the monitor selling price starts at 16 and we need to create it until 35 pound sterling, and then the rest follows. Since we are about to do a relative cell referencing, please remember any formula that doesn't have an absolute referencing will need to be added with a $sign so that it stays. But it's not for all, because remember the related or the relevant the relative cell will change as well. So in this case, I'm going to drag this down. You see how it doesn't change? It needs to change along with or the same as the projection here. So 16 until 35. So we want to change this into 17, and I'm gonna select the 2 of them and drag it down. Now as you can see, it automatically adds up per 1, and then until 35. The number projected sales should be following as well, yeah, going downwards. Oh, apparently the sales is not based on currency, so we're gonna stay with the numbers of sales. So now we need to change this as well to not have a decimal point there. So we're losing the decimal points. So it's 328221. 328221. So it's the same now. Okay. Income 5251540.98. 5251540.98. Same, yeah. Profit, we need to make sure it's the same also. 819,663.93. 819,663.93. So it's the same already. So in the number of projected sales, you can see that it's actually changing when it goes downwards. Okay, because there's a formula here that relatively changing due to the monitoring selling price. It needs to refer to the correct cell. So in this case, the first cell, C14, refers to C14. So we expect that this cell will keep changing, but I want to make sure that the C does not move because it needs to keep on this column. So I put an absolute in front of C. The second one is if it's less than D10. If C14 is less than D10, it refers to the manufacturing cost. So we don't want this to move as well, the D10, but only the D, yeah. Only the D and the 10 actually, because it refers to one cell. If these are accepted, then it should be empty, meaning that there shouldn't be any calculation in the cell in D14, comma, if it's not less than, if it's not 0 for D7, if it's not less than 0 for D10, then D7 is going to equal D7 here. So we're gonna put, here. So we're gonna put a $sign for the D7 because it refers specifically for advertising, times 50 is from them, times the sin of D7, okay, put a $sign, minus C14. So we're not gonna put a $sign for the 14, but we're gonna put the $sign for the C. Okay, now if I drag this, it should be the same. This one should stay. This one should stay. Okay. So now we have the same amount there. The last one should be 43221, 43221, the same. The one that I'm changing earlier, it's because I missed out on this particularly two cell reference, because it refers to the D7, which is one cell, D10 for the one cell, and it says like if this thing are 0 as well, then it should leave things empty because there's no calculation. So it needs to stop and absolutely stop in this section right here. So that's why a couple earlier became 0, because when I drag it down, these reference follows downwards as well. But now it's already secure with the $sign. Yeah? So now we're looking at the income, which is D14 times C14. You know that this D14 here and C14 here, but we don't want the numbers to move, so we put a $sign in front of the C and the D, and we can now drag it down. And the profit as well, since it refers to the specific cells, we want to change these relative cell referencing to absolute cell referencing. So D6 will be placed with a $sign, D7 as well, and then D14 should move along with downwards later, so we only put in front. The D10 though, the D10 we need to put a dollar sign. The E14 only put the E as the for the dollar sign because it needs to stay on the column, but the number should move. Okay. Now we drag it down, and we can make sure that it's the same calculation with the display here. 107 1087 885 25, 1087 885 25. The last one should be 785 868.85. For the next number is the creation of the chart. So we finished this table already. Now we're gonna use the table to create this chart. Use the chart to create this. Use the data to create this chart in a separate chart sheet. So what we want to do is to create a new sheet. Let's call it chart sheet, and insert the chart that we want. The chart is now empty because we haven't selected the data. So we want to right click and select the data, and then go to the sales model and select everything here. Later we can remove the ones that we don't need. For the axis label range, we want to change this 1 to 3 until 20 to the price. Now we click OK. Now we have this. It doesn't shape as how we want. It's because the limitation of the axis here is different with the ones that they ask us to set up. So we want to select this one first, and when you select this area, which is supposed to be the profit area, the maximum number here, we need to change it to the numbers that they ask, which is 2,300,000. Now you see that it's already changing in the shape that we want. But we see another line here that doesn't appear in the example that was given in the question. So I'm gonna delete that one, and this blue line as well, delete. Now we have the curve, but we wonder how to get the straight lines going from up to down here, which is supposedly the representation of the number of projected sales. So this one is right now it's because it's being set up as the primary axis, and then it follows from this number until the 0 number. So we want to change this into secondary axis because it has a different calculation on the side here. Before that, as you notice that there's nothing on the right side, but since this guy is actually or had a different base of range, so we want to separate it from the curved lines. So we pick it as the secondary axis. So now it shows on the right side here. Now we want to see or check the orientations of everything. Okay, first one we want to fix is the monitoring selling price on the bottom. So you can see right now it shapes like that. Now we can select this, automatically it opens the properties. We want to change the orientation of the numbers. You can do this manually by changing the degree, but since we only want this to be a regular horizontal way and it's already horizontal, a simple change and going back and forth to the 0 degree angle will automatically move this to a normal position instead of like the earlier version. We want to expand this so that we can get a better view. Now what are we missing? The chart title and the axis title. So we want to change this chart title to the same as the question asks us. Pollution monitor sales projection. So I'm going to change it to that. Pollution monitor sales projection. Okay, we have the same title now. Now it's just a matter of adding the rest of the axis title. So I put the axis title. Now since every axis available from left to right, downwards, it automatically adds for every axis available. So we're just gonna change this axis title to profit, this one to monitoring selling price, sorry, then this one to sales. Notice that the orientation is still not the same with the ones that they asked. Profit should be written downwards as so do the sales. So we're going to change the orientation here to, or the alignments to stack. This one also stack. Now we have profit, monitoring selling price, and sales. The position is already the same. Now you notice also that this one is bold, bold, and bold. So we're gonna change that. Highlight this, Control B, highlight this, Control B, highlight this, Control B. So now the three of them are bold. What's left is the legend on the top. So we just click on the chart, click plus, legend, and click this legend, and make sure that the position of the legend is on the top. Now we have the exact same result. Oh wait, not yet. The last one is the curved line. It's supposed to be green. So we select that, click it one time, go to the fill and line, and change it to green. Now we have everything the same. So now we're on the last part of the paper. In this case, in your sales model worksheet, add a table to record the values as the advertising costs change. Add data to the table, entering the advertising values in the project cost table. Note the monitor selling price that shows the highest profit and manually enter the result in the table. So we'll stop right there first. So basically we want to create this new small table next to the big one. So I'm going to create it here. And the first one is advertising. And then maximum profit. And this one is monitor selling price. We're going to add 15 to 18 and manually enter the result in the table. So 15,000, 16,000, and there we go. Now we're going to border this just to follow the format that has been shown to us. To find the maximum profit, I already create earlier the formula here to check the maximum out of the table, because to check it manually one by one, it would be too much of a hassle. So we want to make sure that we get the correct amount of the maximum. So right now, under the 15,000 advertising, the maximum profit is 2.153655.74. So I want to create a paste there. But if you copy pasting from another cell that has a formula, it will still do the relative cell referencing. So what we want is that we want only the value to be pasted here. And the monitoring selling price, we just have to check which one is it. So it's the 25 pound sterling. So now we have the first one. The question here also says that we need to determine the highest maximum profit and the associated monitoring selling price and highlight the row. Since the example shown the highlighted to be here, so I assume that we need to create the highlighted rows in the projections instead of the small table. So I'm gonna create the conditional formatting for the table here. So I'm gonna highlight this table, go to conditional formatting, new rules, and use the formula to determine which cells to format. I want to format everyone from each records that I want. Specifically, only the one that has the highest profit shown. So in this case, I want to pick from the beginning, right? We want to check everything from the first profit to the end, and then later only show the one that has the highest profit. But if we write it like this, the absolute referencing will stop the checking onto the or only to the F14. So what we want is we want to stay in the column, but we want to check everything else. So we erase the absolute referencing from the cell reference here and only absolute the F or the column F, and then equal to this value. So if F14 is equal to F34, which is stopping at the max, stopping at the F34 here for one cell, then we're gonna format it into a yellow highlight. Then click OK. Then we have the whole row. On how that works is that it's because I selected the whole table for the conditional formatting, but only when I'll go back to the rows here. Sorry, need to highlight this and then check the rows. And only when if F14 is equal, but it's not only F14 because I'm highlighting them all. So it's relatively changing every time. It checks everything and stops if it's true here. Stop if true. So when it reach certain column from the beginning to end here, from from F14 to F33, it's gonna stop and it's gonna do the formatting for that rows particular. Okay, so we managed to do that. So now I'm gonna change this to 16,000, and now we have this result. So I'm gonna change this to that and paste it. And then this is for the 31 pound sterling. The next one is 17. And we have the 530. Copy that for 31 pound. And then the last one is the 18. Then we have the last result for 25 pounds. Save the spreadsheet as marketing scenarios, and we are done. So just save this as the name requested or as the requirements set in the paper, and then you're done with task 1. Thank you.